Hello and welcome to another episode of today's 𝐃𝐫𝐢𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢. Let's begin with the practice question of the last segment. Consider the following statements. One person can be appointed as governor for two or more states. The governor must issue ordinances under Article 213 of the Indian Constitution. The governor is not bound by the advice of his Council of Ministers, so we have to select the correct statement. First and second are correct. A is the correct answer. The governor of Maharashtra wound up his address to a joint session of the Legislative Assembly in 2 minutes on the first day of the budget session. Article 153 says that there shall be a governor for each state. One person can be appointed as governor for two or more states. He is the constitutional head of the state, bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. He may or she may promulgate the ordinances under certain circumstances according to Article 213. We have to match the movement with the leader and we have to see which of the pairs have been correctly matched. 𝐃𝐫𝐤𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 movement by Medha Patkar, Narmada Bachao Andolan, Gaura Devi, Anti-Iraq movement, Dubanguntu Rosamma. So, only the third pair is correctly matched. C is the correct answer. Since the recognition by the United Nations in 1977, International Women's Day has attained an official status. A 2021 report by the World Economic Forum showed that gender inequities widened more in India than the global average between 2020 and 2021. 𝐃𝐫𝐤𝐬𝐡𝐭𝐢 movement was led by Gaura Devi along with 27 more women who hugged the trees and pleaded for the forest by the forest officials to spare them. Narmada Bachao Andolan was led by famous environmentalist Medha Patkar. The movement started in 1985. It aimed at persuading the government to drop its idea of going ahead with the construction of many dams across the Narmada River. Anti-Iraq movement was a mass uprising of women against the production and sale of country liquor, Iraq. It was led by Dubanguntu Rosamma. Consider the following statements regarding government e-marketplace system. It is a one-stop national public procurement portal. The Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises is the nodal agency for the maintenance of it. We have to select the correct statement. First is correct. Second is not correct. A is the correct answer. The government e-marketplace may procure works for ministries, departments and government organizations. In the near future, it is a one-stop national public procurement portal which facilitates online procurement of common use goods and services required by various states and central government departments, organizations, PSUs. The procurement of goods and services by ministries and the central public sector enterprise is mandatory for goods and services available on GEM. The Ministry of Commerce and Industry is the nodal agency for the maintenance of GEM. Consider the following statements regarding Financial Action Task Force. It is an intergovernmental body established during the G7 summit in Paris. India and Pakistan are members of it. Grey list countries are known as non-cooperative countries or territories. We have to select the correct statement. First is correct, second and third is not. A is the correct answer. Recently, the Financial Action Task Force retained Pakistan in the grey list. Financial Action Task Force is an intergovernmental body established in 1989 during the G7 summit in Paris. It assesses the strength of a country's anti-money laundering and anti-terror financing framework. However, it does not go by individual cases. Its secretariat is located at the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development headquartered in Paris. The FATF currently has 39 members, including 2 regional organizations, the European Commission and Gulf Cooperation Council. India is a member of FATF. Pakistan is not. Blacklist countries are those who are labeled as non-cooperative countries or territories. Which of the following reports are published by the IMF or International Monetary Fund? Ease of Doing Business Report, Global Financial Stability Report, World Economic Outlook. So, second and third are published by the IMF. So, B is the correct answer here. The IMF has warned Russia's war with Ukraine and the subsequent sanctions imposed. They will have a severe impact on the global economy. The IMF was set up along the World Bank after the Second World War to assist in the reconstruction of war-ravaged countries. The two organizations were agreed to be set up at a conference in Bretton Woods in the US. Hence, they are known as Bretton Woods Twins. The IMF's primary purpose is to ensure the stability of IMF. Reports which are published by IMF are Global Financial Stability Report, World Economic Outlook. Ease of Doing Business Report is published by the World Bank. Consider the following statements regarding tiger conservation. Tiger conservation is a symbol of the conservation of forests. The St. Petersburg's declaration is linked to tiger conservation. We have to select the not correct statement. D is the correct answer. Preliminary findings of a study suggest that the density of tigers in the Sundarbans may have reached the carrying capacity of the mangrove forests. It has led to a frequent dispersal and a surge in human-wildlife conflict. The tiger is a unique animal that plays a pivotal role in the health and diversity of an ecosystem. It is a top predator which is at the apex of the food chain and keeps the population of wild ungulates in check. Tiger helps in maintaining the balance between prey herbivores and the vegetation upon which they feed. Thus, tiger conservation is a symbol of the conservation of forests. St. Petersburg Declaration was adopted in November 2010 by the leaders of 13 tiger range countries assembled at the International Tiger Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia. It aimed at promoting a global system to protect the natural habitat of tigers and raise awareness among the people on white tiger conservation. Consider the following statements. Palestine is an area of the eastern Mediterranean region comprising parts of modern Israel and Palestinian territories of Gaza Strip only. Ramallah is a town in the West Bank and is to the north of Jerusalem. We have to select the correct statement. Only the second is correct. B is the correct answer. Mukul Arya, India's representative at Ramallah in Palestine, passed away recently. Palestine is an area of the eastern Mediterranean region comprising of parts of modern Israel and the Palestinian territories of the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. Ramallah is a town in the West Bank adjacent to the town of Al-Bira and north of Jerusalem. It is administered as part of the British Mandate of Palestine. With respect to humanitarian corridors, consider the following statements. They are demilitarized zone in a specific area for a specific time. Both the sides of their armed conflicts agree with them. They can only be negotiated by the United Nations. Only the first and second are correct. B is the correct answer. Russian Defense Ministry has stated that Russia created all conditions for setting up a humanitarian corridor. We have to conclude that the Ukrainian side did not fulfill its obligation. Humanitarian corridors are demilitarized zones in a specific area for a specific time, and both sides of an armed conflict agreed to them. Via these corridors, either food and medical aid can be brought to areas of conflict, or civilians can be evacuated, and in most cases, these corridors are negotiated by the United Nations. Sometimes they are also set up by local groups. Since all sides need to agree to set up the corridors, there is a risk of military or political abuse. With respect to the Competition Commission of India, consider the following statements. It was established in 2002. It consists of a chairperson and 6 members appointed by the president. We have to select the not correct statement. Both are not correct. C is the correct answer. The Competition Commission of India has dismissed allegations of predatory pricing against e-commerce platform Shopee. The Competition Act 2002, as amended by the Competition Act 2007, follows the philosophy of modern competition laws. The Act prohibits anti-competitive agreements, abuse of dominant position by enterprises, and regulates combinations which causes or likely to cause an appreciable adverse effect on competition within India. The objectives of the Act are sought to be achieved through the Competition Commission of India, which has been established by the central government with effect from 14th October 2003. CCI consists of a chairperson and 6 members appointed by the central government. Consider the following statements with respect to National Stock Exchange. It was incorporated in 1992 and recognized by SEBI in 1993. It won the world's largest derivative exchange in terms of contracts traded award. With respect to these two statements, we have to select the correct statement. Both are correct. C is the correct answer. The CBI has arrested Chitra Ramakrishna, former Chief Executive Officer of the National Stock Exchange. NSE was incorporated in 1992. It was recognized as a stock exchange by SEBI in April 1993 and commenced operations in 1994 with the launch of the wholesale debt market, followed shortly by the launch of a cash market segment. It was the country's first completely computerized electronic trading exchange. It won the world's largest derivative exchange in terms of contract traded award in 2019-2020. Consider the following statements with respect to the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act of 2012. Under Section 19, it is mandatory to report child sexual abuse, and it is a gender-biased act that doesn't recognize women as perpetrators. We have to select the correct statement. Only first is correct. A is the correct answer. The Kerala High Court has reserved its judgment in the anticipatory bail pleas moved by the owner of a city-based hotel 80 and 2 others, including a woman, in a POCSO case against them. By defining a child as any person below the age of 18 years, the POCSO Act sets a gender-neutral tone For the legal framework available to child sexual abuse victims, the Act also doesn't distinguish between perpetrators of child sexual abuse on the grounds of gender, and there have been instances where the courts have convicted women for such abuse. The flagship feature of the POCSO Act, and arguably the most debated one, is the mandatory reporting obligation imposed under Section 19. It requires every person who suspects or has knowledge of a sexual offence being committed against a child to report it to the local police or the Special Juvenile Police Unit. Consider the following statements regarding Democracy Report 2022. It is released by the International Institute for Democracy and Electoral Assistance. Democracy Report 2022 takes into account the electoral dimensions only. Sweden topped the Liberal Democratic Index. We have to select the correct statement. So comment the correct statement. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching.